Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another vlog. So I'm actually sat here reading through the comments and responding to the comments from my first vlog, the 18 weeks out vlog. And yeah, some of them are great. It seems like you guys are liking the vlog style content. So I think my strategy with this will be now on the weeks where I don't film with Alex, I'll just film bits and pieces throughout the week, maybe a little bit at random, piece them together. And then, yeah, I'll of course try and deliver as much value as I can within the videos, like I always do, but equally just show a bit more of like me. So today's Tuesday, 21st of January. This morning, I've just finished up check-ins, or most of them. Today's a much quieter day on Tuesdays. So then that means that I stack other things in my day. So I've got, what have I got today? I've got 4 calls, one podcast, and then the 3 other calls are all to do with the MBW International. So they are potential sponsors, potential collaborators. So it's exciting times now. So we're in January now, see the show's in October, but there's a lot of things that I want to get, pretty much over the line and finalized in terms of who I want there, how I want things set up from a sponsorship standpoint. And yeah, we're getting into the nitty gritty bits of that now. So it's really exciting times. Obviously, this is going to be the first year, so there's going to be things that for sure I will learn from, and collectively as a group, all the people that are behind this will learn from. But yeah, some exciting chats to be happening today. So I'll take you maybe a little bit behind the scenes on those. Other than that, everyone else is sort of like, coaching wise, it's been a good morning. Had some really good productive check-ins. Things are going well. Not really too much to like specifically note on this morning. I think one of the things probably to sort of, I don't know, maybe give you guys a little bit of advice on, and some things that some of my clients have been going through is like, if you've come out of a contest prep and the post-show phase potentially hasn't gone exactly the way that you wanted it to go, maybe gained a little bit too much weight in a little bit of a shorter time frame than you would have originally liked. And this happens, especially with first-time competitors. It's a tough phase. It's not easy. Do not rush to diet. I really like to see, for most natural athletes, spending, in the grand scheme of things, like at least 30 weeks outside of a deficit before you even think about dieting again. And that may mean that if you have gained weight a little bit too fast in that post-show phase, that you are spending a little bit more time just at maintenance, just holding your calories, not gaining any more additional body fat, but holding out where you're at, staying stable, and just ultimately seeing body composition improve. Because as you recover more and more as a natural athlete especially, you'll get closer and closer to what's kind of deemed as more homeostasis, both from a body fat standpoint, but also from a hormonal standpoint. And as you start to see, of course, in males, testosterone starting to rise, stress hormones starting to drop off as well, as a byproduct of getting back into a normalized hormonal position, you'll start to see pretty drastic improvements in body composition. So that's really what I've seen with a few guys. That's just the post show wasn't perfect. They struggled a little bit more, and we're now in a position where those guys have started to level off and improve body composition week to week without actually having to gain any body weight or lose any body weight, but just staying stable. So that's one of the lessons from this morning. Promised meal number 1 every single day is the same. So 200 grams of frozen mango and 40 grams of Trained by JP caramel biscuit, is it?
Yes.
Caramel biscuit.
Basically Biscoff.
Basically Biscoff. I mean, it literally just tastes like you're eating Biscoff, yeah. So yeah, that's meal 1. Obviously the whey is mixed into a paste, and at this point, if you're watching this and you don't know how to make paste, I don't know whether that's something that even deserves a tutorial, because at this point it's a very basic bodybuilder thing to make a paste. I think most people realize that it's just water, a spoon, and mix until your desired consistency. But if people are really interested in a paste tutorial, perhaps I can make that happen. And then that's just cinnamon on the top there. Yeah, cinnamon goes with everything, to be fair. So Yeah, that's meal number 1. And then the other thing that we encountered this morning is Loz is now jealous of the amount of comments that I got on my vlog, because apparently I put in minimal effort, right?
Well, yeah, because
There we go.
I've been grinding.
I think you forget my YouTube history. Just looks how many vlogs in a minute. People have forgotten that I exist.
What?
Ooh.
I was actually going to say something that that's completely blind. You just film yourself eating your mango.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think people just, they say it's a full day of eating, they don't actually eat the food. So how do you know?
They're just actually throwing it out.
They could.
They could be.
You know,
not finishing their meals, actually.
Yeah, or not finishing them, or not eating them, or not bodybuilding. Also, frozen fruit is just far superior to fresh. But 1, it's cheaper. But 2, it's just better. It just tastes better. And if you disagree, you need to put your argument in the comment section. How can fresh fruit be better than frozen? Let's have some sort of debate. So here's me just walking on a treadmill. So yeah, enjoy. Work, obviously, with you being, a company that's still growing. I want to make it fair for both parties, so we can, make it a really good partnership moving forwards. Ideally, third of the room on the layout that we've got about a third of the room to utilize for stands for people to sit around tables if they want to come away from the audience, sort of direct niche. So that's the setup. Obviously, there'll be access from Friday. So if you needed to set anything up on Friday, you'd have access. So, meal number 2 of this riveting rest day. So what have I done in between the gap between this and meal 1? I've done 3,000 steps. I did a physique assessment video. I did 2 more check-ins. And I planned out like some content stuff that we need for something that we're launching in a few weeks' time. So yeah, actually what the meal is, that would be helpful as well, right? So it's 150 grams of 5% beef, 30 grams of kimchi, some pepper, and 150 grams of green beans. So yeah, pretty dire meal, to be honest. But on a rest day, I like to place all of my carbohydrates towards the end of the day, because personally that's where I feel a little bit more hunger. Hunger is still very moderate at this stage. It's really not too interruptive at all. But nevertheless, there is some of it. So placing the carbs at the back of the day tends to help me both with just sleep, energy, mood. And I also find that the lower carb meals during the morning, it keeps me really focused with work. So if I'm on more calls, like I've got in a bit, it definitely helps to do sort of the lower carbs. Yeah. Loz has got something that's much nicer. There's much more going on.
Let's be real. For the majority of this last year, my meals were this, but also the whole day.
The whole day, yeah. That's what you have to do. Often if you're a small female or 110-pound male, which
it's unlikely. Should not be prepping
probably
if you're 110 pounds. You need to get some muscle on.
Yeah. So, no offense to any guys that are 110 pounds, but it's pretty small now. Cheers, guys.
He's the founder of Team MBM Coaching, NBW, and he's arguably done more than anyone to help with the popularity of natural bodybuilding in the UK this past decade. Drive-through bodybuilding is bigger than ever, and AJ is a big part of the reason why. So yeah, welcome AJ. It's really good to chat to you again after all these years.
I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, that's a really nice, kind intro, and I'm glad that some people think that way. Obviously, I think a large part of my objective is always kind of the impact on natural bodybuilding. I mean, still 2021 seems like a long time ago now when I last stepped on stage.
Yeah.
All right, so meal number 3 after a very productive call with Ashley from Ready Prep, and then also a podcast with Ant Citric, which was really fun, actually. Really good to chat to Ant, and we were like friends. We're obviously still our friends now, but we first became friends in 2015, which is nuts. So it's like a decade ago now that I sort of made one of my first natural bodybuilding friends. Friends. Yeah, friends.
No, stop.
All right then. Well, here's the meal: 100 grams of oats, 20 grams of dark chocolate, cinnamon, salt, and then raspberries, 100 grams. So that is the meal for meal.
Sorry.
That's meal number 3 of today's rest day, which is quickly becoming a full day of eating. Yeah, I'll probably do a full day of eating, to be fair, today, and then I'll see what other pieces of content I want to put through the week. But yeah, may as well just join me for a full day of eating. Loz is eating some baked.
Oh, it's
baked
basically
oats.
it's what AJ's eating, but in
Just in
baked
cookie form. Yeah.
It's actually less food than you have.
Yeah. You got the recipe though, because there'll be people asking for the recipe.
It's literally just the food
The
in the
recipe.
oven.
What's the recipe though? How do you do it? What's the recipe?
You'll have to subscribe to my channel.
Okay, of course. Yeah. Better chef than me. All right, meal number 4 is 50 grams of dry weight jasmine rice, 100 grams of Atlantic salmon, smoked salmon, and then mixed salad and some salt and some pepper. So, yeah, I pretty much always have salmon in my rest day diet. Whether it's in the off season, I'll have it with like sourdough bread, sometimes rice, sometimes potato. But in a contest prep diet, and to be fair, even in the off season, like I can't seem to keep potatoes in my diet for that long until I get some form of digestive issues. So typically for me, it's always going to be rice-based products or oats that digest the best with myself. So, big tip, seems like such a simple tip, but if you're getting some degree of digestion issues, troubleshoot your foods. Change one thing at a time. Don't go and change your entire diet, but troubleshoot, pull a few things out and see if that thing was maybe the trigger. For me, too much potato and also just too much fiber in general in my diet tends to set things into a pretty bad spot. So this is meal number 4, and then I have one more call at 5. It's 4:45 now. One more call at 5. Had a good call with Liam, catching up about some things we're going to do with GraphFit and MBW, which is really cool. And then one more call at 5, which is about it's with a company that's potentially going to come and sponsor the MBW show. So it's been a really productive day, and these days, honestly, for me, they're so useful for when I'm dieting down because I'm just so busy. I've always got between meals something to do, whether it's steps, whether it's content creation, whether it's calls, whatever. You just like time just flies, So obviously there's only so much stuff you can do to keep yourself busy, but my advice is definitely in a prep, keep yourself busy, keep yourself occupied, and you'll realize that part of the time, like hunger is a choice in a way. Like you can certainly manage hunger in really good ways by keeping yourself busy and keeping your mind on other things. Good evening. So, a very productive day in the books. Had a really good chat with a potential sponsor for the MBW show. We'll keep that one, not sort of in the open just yet because it would be cool to really announce that one when it comes live. But very productive chat. So, finished off my steps. Caught up with Instagram. I tend to just do all of my social media stuff like right at the end of the day because for me it's just a distraction if I go on it earlier. So I tend to stay clear from social media, get all of my primary work done whether it's calls, check-ins, programming, setups. Today you saw a day that was very call dominant. A lot of my other days might be a bit more check-ins. Obviously, I did 15 check-ins this morning, but that's quite a quiet day. And other days it might be like setups. So setups, I might have 2 or 3 setups to do in a day. So yeah, my days are relatively varied, but they mainly revolve around sitting in my office and doing various different things. So final meal is the same as my training day, just a few little changes. So here it is: 100 grams of oats, 20 grams of dark chocolate, 20 grams of nut butter, so a little bit more nut butter on a rest day, cinnamon, salt, and 100 grams of mango instead of 100 grams of raspberries. The only reason behind that is just because my carbs in this meal are just a little bit higher than on training days. And then Loz's. For people, for reference, Loz's and my eating times are, of course, the same every single day.
Yeah.
Because it's just called having a routine. I think some people don't understand the importance of having a routine as a bodybuilder. It's like one of your keys to success. So we eat at the same time, we go to bed at the same time, we work at the same time, because we're both bodybuilders with the goal of being the best that we can be. So yeah, it's 7:30 now. Have this, and then we'll be in bed by like 8:30, and then up in the morning about 5:30, 6. That's kind of our routine. So yeah, we'll leave it there. I may vlog some stuff tomorrow. If I don't, I will perform an outro. A couple of people were pretty upset that I didn't do a song on the last one, so I'm still kind of working on it. I'm warming up the vocal cords to get into
You're
song.
still fine-tuning.
Fine tuning. Yeah, Loz is stabbing.
I'm not eating. This looks
candle.
like I'm eating the candle. The wicks. It's gone on me.
The wick's gone.
It's gone on me.
Goodness.
So.
Okay, so
All right, guys, we are back. It is another day, and today is another rest day. And the reason why I picked up the camera to vlog today, to add to this vlog, which let me pull it up and see how much I recorded last time round. So it's only 13 minutes, which from my standards is a very, very short vlog. So I'm sure that the watch time on that would be much better, because 13 minutes, most people would stay to the end. But for the people that like the longer ones, I'm making the effort to compile more footage throughout the week, so that we can have longer vlogs once per week. So today's a little bit different, because as much as it's a rest day, it is a high day. So at the moment, my high day frequency has been every 10 to 12 days. And I normally schedule them like the rest day before a push day and a push day, just because that's kind of the body parts where I lose the most muscle fullness, and I also often lose more performance across presses. So it arguably just helps retain performance, and it also helps me see what my physique looks like filled out. This time it's worked out that it's actually the rest day before a leg day and a leg day, which is by the by. It's not a huge problem at this stage exactly where they're at. The main thing is that they ran at the right time. So when I start to see sort of muscle flatness get to the point where I know that pursuing more and more fat loss is going to result in a larger feed up window needed to get me back to actually seeing the changes that I've made in that fat loss stint, that's typically when I go in and I refeed. And that's just the benefit of having, one, a longer prep, and two, just enough time to do these things. In 21 I had, my refeed frequency was basically never, because I didn't refeed. I just kept going and going and going until the job was done. So today's going to be a moderate refeed, not 1,000 grams of carbs. Does anyone remember when if you refed, you just had to do 1,000 grams of carbs? If you didn't do 1,000, you just weren't refeeding. There was a period of time like 2020, 21, 21 where just everyone just did 1,000 grams. Refeed just 1,000 grams. I did 1,000 grams of carbs once. Fun. It's about as much as you can fit in one day, in my opinion, to be honest. But anyway, today's definitely not 1,000 grams of carbs, because I just don't need that amount of calories to get the muscle fullness replenishments and the performance benefits I need. So my baseline calories, let's flick this around. So my baseline calories, as you can see here, that's a regular rest day. 225 carb, 55 fat, 215 protein, for a total of 2,255 calories. My high days are 360 carb, 75 fat, and 220 protein, for a total of 2,995. So that's a rest day difference. So we're talking about 800 calorie difference. Now, as the prep goes on, the calorie or the calorie difference and the refeed amounts might change just as a result of changes in insulin sensitivity. The amount of food that I need to actually replenish and fill out will be different. But right now, that's more than enough. Over the course of 2 days, about an 800 calorie increase across 2 days is enough for me to get what I want from these days. Also, a good psychological benefit as well. I really feel like I get some psychological benefits out of doing them, as much as they do make you a bit hungrier. Some people will ask, why do I increase fats as well as carbs? Typically refeeds are prioritized on carbs and a little bit less on fats and pull protein down. For me, I really do feel a benefit from increasing the fat slightly, because my normal baseline diet is 55 grams of fat on a rest day. But going up to the 75, I really feel a big difference in satiety, and also just generally energy and mood, and a little bit of a shift in libido and things like that. So it might just be a placebo thing for me, but it's something to play around with. It's something that I've played around with a lot of clients, is just riding the fats up a little bit on a rest day high day. I keep them more moderate on a training day high day. So that's what we're working with today. I have already done all my check-ins for today. It's 12 o'clock when I picked up the camera, and I've also had already meal one. I'm not fasting until midday. Typically I have meal one on a rest day anywhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Just because I do like to get a lot of work done in the morning when I'm fresh, really cognitive, can function. So, first meal was a small meal anyway. It was only just my normal meal, just with a little bit of extra dark chocolate. And about to go down and have meal two. So I will show you that in a bit. All right then, guys.
You're going to mute that, aren't you?
No.
Oh. I thought you were going to turn the sound off.
No.
Okay.
All right. No, I'm joking. Right. So this next meal number 2, is normally, as you will have seen in the previous rest day, which is why this video is going to be so amazingly cool, it was just beef, green beans and kimchi. Very boring, but it does the job. Now it has 100 grams of jasmine rice with it, so it looks significantly better. Other than that, my normal salt and I use 2 grams of low salt a day, 5 grams of pink salt a day, and I just keep that the same across 3 feeds. There could be an argument that you want to increase that a little bit more due to more glycogen coming on board, things like that, but until I get to the sort of final 10 weeks, 8 weeks or so, the intricacies like that, they're not really going to make a massive change to the physique, nor do they make a massive change to nutrient uptake. The main thing is taking enough time to eat the meal, put your phone away whilst you're eating, which I sometimes suck at, admittedly.
No, you don't. You do a really
I'm much better.
You do a really good job at that.
Oh,
I'll give you credit for that.
Okay, yeah, I do put my phone away apparently, but I think in just contest season, it's maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, when you've got to get back to people.
Yeah.
But that's usually only something that he does, and this is why he sets out food that way with your meal one, which basically varies in weight. Yeah. When you're eating a big meal like this, and especially if you're on refeed, you always give it attention that it deserves.
There we go then. We typically just put on a podcast or something like that, and I think that's like I said. Chew your food. I'm getting lost in my train of thoughts. Chew your food, do little walks after your meals. You could even take a GDA if you really want to. I sometimes like using Strum Sports Glycomax, but once I get sort of sub 170, if I start using GDAs, even on a day like this, I will feel a bit lightheaded and low blood glucose. I don't typically use them at this point. All right, let's enjoy the meal. Peace out. Meal number 3 of this high day is actually my normal rest day meal number 3. So that's 100 grams of oats, 40 grams of whey, 100 grams of raspberries, and 20 grams of dark chocolate. And of course, as always, some cinnamon on there and some salt. I actually make this meal cold, so I make it after I've eaten meal 2, and then I put it in the fridge, and it almost kind of sets a little bit, and then I just prefer it to eat it that way, during the day. If it's before bed, I really like eating it warm, fresh out the microwave kind of deal. But during the day, there's something about eating a really hot bowl of oats that I associate with going to bed.
so it makes me feel tired. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. Like eating, I don't know, like I don't mind, like my other meal was like warm rice. Warm rice is fine, but warm oats, I don't know, it just makes me like feel sleepy. So that's my tactic to remain a little bit more focused during the day. But yeah, a good morning so far. I did a setup in between meal 2 and meal 3. So for client setups in general, it depends obviously the complexity of the setup, but it can take me anywhere between sort of like 3 and 4 hours. Like that was 3 hours from the point of, obviously we have back and forth conversation, onboarding forms, consultation calls, etc. But the main thing like is just kind of collecting that information and having a goal and the clarity with the focus and like what their first phase is going to be, mapping that out in the timeline. That's kind of the way that I structure it. Map out the timeline first. Where are we headed? And then the kind of training falls as a byproduct of that. And then obviously the nutrition falls as a byproduct of that too. So it's kind of like a 3-phase process. And then I film an onboarding video, which is typically between 25 and 30 minutes long, depending on how much I talk. So I think that one was like 22 minutes, which is a little short. But I try and keep them concise because I can talk for days and not everyone has the time to listen to a 30-minute video, even on 2 times speed. So yeah, I try and keep them concise when I set people up, but it's always a nice way to get someone onto the team. And it's something that I've literally done from day one. So yeah, still taking on clients here and there at the moment. Kind of has to be the right fit really at this stage. But if anyone that does watch these videos is interested in working with me, then of course you can either message me directly on Instagram or fill out my onboarding form or my consultation, my initial form. It's like a very short form on my Instagram page. It's in the link in my bio. And yeah, not taking on any more competitors for this year, but for next year after that, if you're interested, please don't feel afraid to reach out. All right, I'll eat this and catch up with you guys at the next meal. So meal number 4 is ready to go. We have 100 grams of raw weight jasmine rice, 100 grams of Leap sockeye salmon. So this is the packet. Macros wise, per 100 grams, it's 133 calories, 3.6 grams of fat, 24 grams of protein, and obviously like 0 carb. So yeah, a really, really good source of omega-3 fats, but also at the same time, pretty low fat option for, for salmon. If you'd like salmon in your diet, but you don't have many fats to spare, the sockeye is a really, really good option. It has a slightly different taste. I find that the regular salmon is like, I don't know, almost just because it's higher in fat, 6-7 grams, normally about 6 grams per 100 grams. It just tastes like really oily and really fatty in like not a nice way. But this is nice. And what I actually do, as you can see here, it's like I grill it on the pan. So even though it's smoked salmon, it looks like it's cooked because it kind of is. So I just grill it on the pan. And if you've not tried that, I recommend you try it. Sometimes I have it just out of the packet. Depends how I feel. And then underneath the salmon, I've got 100 grams of courgette, which is one of my favorite vegetables. I normally stick to like green beans. Obviously, I have kimchi. And then I have courgette or salad. Those are kind of my rotation. I really recommend that you try and get as many like different fruits and vegetables in your diet. So I obviously have like mangoes, raspberries, etc. So get variety in the mix. Don't just eat all the same things all the time. So yeah, gonna enjoy this and then finish off my steps for the day. And what have I done in between these meals? I did a little bit more steps and I booked up an Airbnb and booked up the travel plans for the INBA PNBA World Championships in Salou. I think that's what it's called. So yeah, and I'll also be having Alex come out with me to Spain. So that'll be really cool. I think we'll produce some pretty cool content whilst we're out there. So that's pretty much all booked up now. And yeah, enjoy this and I'll see you at the next meal. All right, guys, so final meal of the day for this rest day, high day. Very similar day tomorrow as well, into the training day. So I tend to run my high days back to back. So it'll be very similar. Just a little bit less fat and a little bit higher carbs, close to 400 grams of carbs instead of 360 today, and a little bit less fats, but very similar calories, about 3,000 calories. So 100 grams of oats, 20 grams of dark chocolate, and 20 grams of almond butter. And then 200 grams of mango is the last meal of the day. And yeah, I had actually a really, really nice evening because I finished that last meal and then I got a call from my dad, and I very rarely get a call from my dad. So immediately I was actually a little bit nervous. I was like, I hope he's okay. And it turns out he was literally like half an hour, which is very rare. He lives like 3 hours away from me. He was half an hour around the corner because he had like a work meeting. So he just popped in to see me for the evening, which is really nice. It was partially quite nice because Loz was out this evening for dinner with her dad. So it was kind of worked out really nicely. So caught up with him, had a nice little chat. I actually cooked him some food as well because he won't be watching this. I don't think he watches my vlogs, but his diet is just absolutely appalling. It's just so bad. Like he'll eat like maybe a snack for breakfast and, you know, I don't know, just nothing for lunch or a banana or something. His diet is all over the place. So I cooked him some mince, some rice, and some broccoli. Get some greens into my dad's diet, which is a rarity. Very rarely see him eat any vegetables. But no, it was really, really nice to catch up with him. He's also strange with his caffeine intake because he just has coffee. I don't know anyone else. You can comment below if your parents do this or have done this, but for him it's always been a thing where he drinks coffee just late at night. Like in the evenings, like coffee with like a dinner. So like for me, like if I was to drink a coffee at like 7 o'clock, I just wouldn't be able to sleep at all. But for him, it's seemingly 5, seemingly good. But anyway, so I'm gonna leave this vlog here, watching a bit of Matt and Tommy's recent podcast. Love a bit of Matt and Tommy, P1. I follow a lot of F1. Really looking forward to the new season. Obviously, right now the hype is like behind Lewis joining Ferrari. I personally think it's going to be a battle between Norris, Verstappen and Leclerc for the championship. If any other F1 fans, you can feel free to give me your thoughts, but that's where I think the battle's going to be. Could equally be a Norris-Piastri battle throughout the season if the McLaren's very strong. But anyway, we'll leave that topic for another day. I'm going to eat this meal, head to bed. Loz is going to get in a moment as well, which should be nice to chill out with her a little bit this evening. Thanks guys so much for watching as always. Please comment below. We'll just do the regular one. Comment below MBW if you've stayed to the end. And yeah, I'll very much look forward to catching you in the next video, which will be a pool session, which I recorded with Alex, and that will come out next Monday at 6 p.m. Monday, 6 p.m. is the upload, and I'll see you guys there. Speak soon.